Okay, so we are recording again. Welcome back to Math Minutes with Bozzy. Now let's look at this progress learning practice. We're gonna go ahead and work these 6 problems, and then that is going to get you in a pretty good place for your formative on Friday. So if the circumference of a circle measures 3 pi, what is the area in terms of pi? So we're going to draw our circle. And then it is telling you the circumference. This one is multi-layered. All right, we're not going to need the circle because it's giving us the circumference. Okay, the circumference of the circle measures 3/2 pi. If you remember back to the last video, we talked about that when you are given the circumference, this is D. When you're given the circumference, that's D. So the diameter is equal to 3/2. And when we take 3/2 and divide that by 2, we get 3/4. So R is going to be 3/4 because I just divided 3/2 by 2. 3/2 divided by 2 is going to give me that. Okay? Now, when you're given the circumference, that is D. Now it wants to know what is the area. Now it's asking you for the area. So now we have to come over here and say A equals pi r squared. So we're going to take 3.14 and multiply that by 3/4 to the second power. And you do need to put the whole parentheses there because you want it to square the whole fraction. You want it to square the whole fraction. Or we got to do it in terms of pi. So I do not have... I'm pretty sure it is 9/4. My calculator, I'm using my phone and it's not giving me. But 3/4 squared. So all you really have to do, let's go back. I messed this up. I'm sorry, y'all. We're writing it in terms of pi. We're writing it in terms of pi. Don't miss that in terms of pi. Okay? So we don't have to multiply it out. So we're going to take pi times 3/4 squared. 3/4 squared is going to be 9/16. So 3/4 times 3/4 is 9/16, and we want to use that as the coefficient of pi. We're going to use that as the coefficient of pi. In terms of pi means that you're going to put pi at the end. If the area of a circle measures 4 pi, the area is 4 pi. So A equals 4 times pi. What is the circumference in terms of pi? Well, let's think about what we've been given. The area is 4 pi. That means that remember that this is area equals, this is r squared pi. All right? So that 4 right there is r times r. So you've got to think about this 4 as r times r equals 4. Because r squared is 4. R times r equals 4. So if r times r equals 4, then r by itself is going to be 2. So the radius is 2. Okay? The radius is 2. Now, it wants to know the circumference in terms of pi. It wants to know c equals pi times the diameter. So if r is 2, d is going to be 4. So this would be pi. This d would be 4. And then when we write it in terms of pi, we have to put the pi at the back. We're going to use 4 in the front and pi at the back. So in terms of pi, it would be 4 pi. You may have to watch this and rewatch it to get me to really, follow what I'm doing. But I'm trying to go as detailed and as step-by-step as I can. If you have a question on a problem, stop the video. And if we're in class, ask me about it. Don't wait. But if we're not in class, bring it back to class with you tomorrow or whenever, and on Friday before we take the assessment, and I will try to answer your question. Riley's placed the game board shown to the right on his bedroom wall. What is the area of the wall? What area of the wall will the game board cover? So basically we want this game board and we need the area. Well, the diameter is 2.5. If the diameter is 2.5, what is the radius? The radius is going to be half of that. So we've got 2.5 divided by 2, and it's 1.25 is going to be the radius. We need to know the diameter and the radius so that we can make sure we're using the right one. What is the area of the wall? What area of the wall will the game board cover? So area is pi times r squared. So we're going to take 3.14. We get to multiply this one out. Times 1.25 squared. 1.25 squared. So 1.25. It's going to be 4.90. And it says round to the nearest square foot whole. So that's going to be rounded to 5. So the answer there would be C. Zoe bought a circular photo frame for her mom. The radius of the photo frame is 9. What is the photo's frame area? So let's draw our photo frame. Circular photo frame. The radius is 9. So R is equal to 9. That means D is going to be equal to 18. D is equal to 18. It wants to know the area. So if it wants to know the area, we're going to use the radius. So A equals pi r squared. Now you don't have to write the formula every time. I'm doing it just as for the repetition. That's 3.14 times 9 squared. And I would get in the habit of putting parentheses all the way around that, because there will be times when if the parentheses aren't there, it's not going to do it right in the calculator. And you're going to get 254.34. An igloo has a circular floor. An igloo has a circular floor. Draw your circle with a radius of 3 yards. What is the circumference? So R is 3, D is 6. It wants the circumference. C equals pi times the diameter. Pi is 3.14. The diameter is 6. So we multiply that. And we get 18.84. You just have to make sure that you know what, if you're doing circumference or area, and that you're making sure you're using the correct radius or diameter, depending on the problem. The diagram to the right shows the diameter of a circular stump, of which the following is the closest circumference. Well, it's showing the diameter right here. D is equal to 3.5. So R is going to be half of that. R is going to be 3.5 divided by 2. 1.75. So now we're going to take circumference is C equals pi times the diameter. So we have 3.14 times 3.5 is my diameter. And we get 10.99, making A the answer. And that's it. That's really all there is to it, guys. That is all there is to it. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be the hardest for you. Being able to write things in terms of pi, and I will say that number 2, right here, this one, was one that I marked as one that was like the test. Number 6 was also one that I marked that was like the test. So, or like the formative. But I feel like you need to have every one of these. All of these notes you're going to need on the formative. You're going to, the formative has 10 questions on it. So, you need to really make sure you can write things in terms of pi and that you understand what that means in terms of pi. And you need to be able to know what to do if you are given the circumference and the area. All right, let me know if you have any questions.